It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, what time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas, and we have breaking news that I needed to share with you. Excuse me. And I don't know why this is not showing. Excuse me. Well, it appears I'm having some difficulty with my camera or my voice. So wow. Well, anyway, I'm sorry I'm having a little bit of trouble speaking right now. Maybe I'm being hit by frequency or something. Do excuse me. But anyway, I wanted to put out this urgent warning for people because if you haven't heard or don't know about this, I know you probably heard it before, or some of you have anyway. So if it's redundant, just bear with me. I don't necessarily agree with everything, but you need to go with your own instincts, use your own discernment. And this is just information which has been gathered from the web and was sent to me so that I could possibly notify my listeners. This Friday may be the start of the financial collapse, if you haven't heard that already. It'll build up into next week and beyond. There's a quote from an article, which I'm going to read to you, but the main quote is that the 12 biggest banks in America have notified the major credit card companies that they will no longer be using services as of December 14th. So it sounds like your 12 banks' credit cards will not be working this Friday. You will need lots of cash or checks available then. Although the new quantum financial system already has your bank checking, savings, and money account, market accounts mirrored into their system so that your money's safe, but we may experience these 10 days of darkness or any number of things where you may need some cash for a short period of time, even though it's not what it's expected to be. You should have at least 2 weeks of food on hand, for every person in your family. It's not a matter of if this is going to happen. It's a matter of when. And although we can't say anything for sure, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with everything that I'll be reading to you, but it is important for you to be aware of it. Could they possibly do the 10 days of darkness before Christmas? Maybe, maybe not. You again use your discernment. But I'm going to read for you a letter that was, or article that was written by Anna von Reitz, and it is concerning this very matter. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is if it's time for you to get something out of the bank, I would suggest that you do it before midnight tomorrow. Tomorrow midnight will be probably the cutoff point. So that being said, let me read this to you. And this is coming directly from Anna von Reitz. We have now confirmed from half a dozen sources that the 12 biggest banks in America have notified the major credit card companies that they will no longer be using their services as of December 14th. This has occurred in tandem with another kind of reset plan for December 15th, which would set the exchange rate at 1-to-1 for all world currencies. This will grossly devalue all Federal Reserve notes wherever they are. The idea is to establish parity for all national currencies and provide an exit for the Federal Reserve note being the reserve currency. It will do you no good to run to the bank and try to get your money out as cash. Whether cash in hand or on a ledger, it will be devalued just the same. The banks are unwilling to extend consumer credit or home loans or any other kind of credit because they do not want to be paid back with devalued money. Bear in mind that this whole situation is their fault, together with the politicians and the business mongols who have been milking the public in honor of corporate greed for the over better part of 150 years. Also bear in mind that as Americans, you are owed absolute parity with the Federal Reserve note just as it stands. So what to do? Take screenshots of your bank account balances or go to the ATM on the 13th and get a paper receipt showing your account balances on that day. The massive credit crunch created willfully by these 12 banks, coupled with the devaluation, will collapse the housing market, the real estate values, that will in turn collapse the derivative market, and all those mortgage-backed securities will be recognized as worthless, and they will collapse all the pension funds, and that will take down the stock market. But don't despair or panic. Remember the credit side of the ledger you are owed, and all the heritage and legacy trust and off-ledger money you are owed. The bilateral bank system is able and ready to distribute prosperity cards and other prepaid credit and asset accounts to tide you over. As you are reading or hearing this, stay calm and prepare by laying in some extra grub, food, fuel, water, and whatever else you may need for about 2 weeks. Let me see. All right. Okay, let's see. Let me take you to the rest. The tragic thing is that all the chaos and suffering that will inevitably result before this mess can be straightened out could have been and might yet be avoided simply by a process of lawful conversion. So, it might be bad, it might not be bad. We don't really sure that they would want it to run as smooth as possible, but they also have no control over the bankers and what they decide to do. So if the officers and boards of directors of these banks are arrested before they can make this move and more intelligent heads rule the day, then this drama and nightmare can fade away. The entire world can be spared a devastating collapse simply by bringing the credit side of the ledger forward and distributing the prepaid credit and asset accounts that are owed. This would allow the banks to stay in business and make a decent, safe, lawful profit serving their communities. It would flip the debt ledger on its head and open up supply lines, restore public faith, and enforce lawful government. Let's vote for that. And if people who call themselves white hats are anything of the sort, let's see those arrest warrants and talk some sense into these 12 biggest banks in America. Well, whether or not that'll happen, I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm passing this information on to you because you have a right to know, and you're not going to hear it from mainstream media. Now, as I said before, please use your own discernment regarding this because I have no way of knowing for sure if this is going to happen as stated. But at least you have the information. Now, I have some other information as well that I'm going to go through real quickly. We are on a high alert because there is a global economic tsunami in process. The Bank of Japan has collapsed. The Federal Reserve has collapsed. SoftBank has collapsed. World Bank is set to collapse on Friday, the 15th of December. And that's why I'm giving you this information out now, because once they go down, that will affect everything. Global currency reset is in motion. Again, and I know you've heard this 100 times before, to have food, water, cash, and essential items on hand for your family and to share with others. Do the best you can. I went to food banks to fill mine, and I also had a Good Samaritan that helped me with food as well. So I hope you've done the same, or um, get ready. There's not a lot of time left if this really does happen on Friday. Make sure you withdraw your dollars from your bank. um, Some people say they're not worried about the banks collapsing because, as they understand it, everything has been mirrored. The QFS, quantum financial system, and Q, the storm rider, consistently posts the U.S. military is decades ahead in tech, weapons, healing, travel, etc., etc. And all that is coming forward as well. We are moving into a totally new paradigm, and it's going to be awesome when we get there. There may be a little rough road on the way, but it's it is what it is. We'll get there. So anyway, as unbelievable as it may seem, 34 trillion in U.S. treasuries is said to be worthless, claims the Bank of Japan. Federal Reserve collapse after Russia signs currency peg agreements with the Saudis and UAE and OPEC, and that is from Hal Turner. So as this is written, this is Hal Turner at about 3:45. This was on Thursday, the 7th of December. Alarm bells starting to go off over Intel circuits regarding the visit by Russian President Putin to the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia yesterday. On that trip with Putin was the chief of Russia's central bank, and I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to say it even. According to Intel, Putin signed a currency PEGs with both United Arab Emirates and with Saudi Arabia, which were allegedly done on behalf of all OPEC. According to Intel, these currency PEGs destroyed the petrodollar. So that's something to bear in mind. Again, this is Judy's note, again saying the same thing because of the decline of the fiat US dollar on which international trade rates were determined. The World Bank was set to close, bringing down the entire global financial world. 12 again, some of this is redundant, so bear with me. 12 of the U.S. largest banks have already sent notice to the credit card companies that they will no longer need their services as of Thursday, the 14th of December at midnight. This is why I said that earlier. On Thursday, December 7th, Bank of Japan collapsed. Banks are closing their branches all over the world. I've had Bank of America close in Cottonwood and Bank of America close in Sedona. So there are banks that are closing, and the ones that are closing are the ones that you can expect probably we're working with the cabal in some capacity, or with human trafficking, so on and so forth. So anyway, moving right along. So there are bank runs were rampant in Europe, although the mainstream media has yet to let Americans know about the global financial crisis that surrounds them, because they've been trying to take America down, if you haven't noticed. And those that don't notice are going to be in for a big shock. All personal bank accounts have been transferred to the BRICS Alliance Gold Asset-Backed Global Financial System on the new Starlink satellite system, though it was not yet known when those accounts could be accessed. This is why get ready kind of information. That's why it would be wise to have some cash on hand, because obviously if your debit and credit cards don't work, that's the only thing you're going to have to rely on. As for myself, I've gone 10 days without cash before, so I've been that way before, but I do have some. Anyway, China on December 6th, China announced their gold-backed yuan, incentivizing countries across the globe. Alexa, cancel. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. I'll be right back. I got to turn something off.